Hello everyone, welcome to the sixth lecture on the course Mathematics Modeling and Simulation. In this lecture, we will talk about linearity and how we can reduce a nonlinear differential equation into the linear systems. So as I have already told you, mathematically linearity means the presence of linear expression and linear terms in the model. So if we talk about some examples, you have seen that our exponential growth model is a linear model as there is no multiplication between the derivative and the dependent variable, and derivative and the dependent variable are in degree 1, and there are no transcendental or trigonometric functions in the dependent or derivative. Now the second equation you may consider as linear spring mass system. So this is a differential equation that you get for a linear spring mass system. So this is also a linear type of differential equation. Another differential equation you must be aware of is LCR circuit. All the resistance, inductor and capacitor are connected in the series. Then the voltage drop across each component will be equal to the applied EMF. So these all are the examples of linear differential equation. Now we will consider a nonlinear model and then we will linearize it. So for this we will consider a pendulum, and suppose this one is angle theta and this I will call it as S as the displacement. Now this pendulum is of mass capital M. So as you know that its weight will act downward, and I can break this into two components, mg cos theta and mg sin theta. This angle will be equal to theta. Now we want to calculate this S is equal to displacement, and you know that this displacement, that is S, will be equal to L into theta. Now again we know that force is equal to mass into acceleration. So I will write down it as like this, and if you put it over here you will see that you are getting d square theta by dt square. Now clearly if you see that this force acting towards this direction will be balanced by the force mg sin theta, because your pendulum is moving like this way. So if in this direction you are having this force, then it will be balanced by the force, that is mg sin theta. So clearly I can write ml d square theta by dt square is equal to minus mg sin theta. Now why this negative sign? This negative sign because it's a restoring force. Finally what we are getting, so we have this differential equation. So I can write this equation as d square theta by dt square is equal to minus g by L sin theta. Now this one is a non-linear differential equation. I will write it in the form dt square plus g by L sin theta equals to 0. Now this one is a non-linear differential equation. Why it is non-linear? Because of the presence of this trigonometric function sin theta. Now if we want to linearize, what we can do, we can expand this with the help of the Taylor series, and you will find out the approximation will be equal to theta, and this approximation works well for the small theta. So if I write sin theta approximately equal to theta, my differential equation will become plus g by L theta is equal to 0. This one is a linearized pendulum equation, and this equation works well for small theta. You can see that how we have reduced this nonlinear differential equation into a linearized pendulum equation with the help of the Taylor series. So you reduce the complexity. However, this equation only works well when your theta is very small. So the question arises, why nonlinear problems are so hard? we know that most of the nonlinear systems are impossible to solve analytically. Now again the questions why they are so hard to analyze than the linear ones. So because the essential difference is that linear systems can be broken up into parts and finally can be recombined to get the answer. So it is in the sense it is saying that a linear system is precisely equal to the sum of its part. But many things in nature don't act in this way. They are non-linear. So as we know that whenever the part of the system interfere, cooperate or compete, they carry non-linear interactions. So equations becomes highly non-linear, and in nonlinear problem the principle of superposition fails spectacularly. So that's why it is very hard to solve nonlinear problem, and for many nonlinear problem it is impossible to get a analytic solution. So we always reduce the nonlinear problems into a linearized system so we can get an little bit of idea about its solution. Now we will look on how to linearize a differential equation. For that you must know that linearization gives important information about the system near the neighborhood of the equilibrium point. So it is important that if you linearize a nonlinear system, then it will only give an important information about the system near to the neighborhood of the equilibrium point. Now what are equilibrium point? I have already told that these are the steady state of the system. These are obviously the solutions of the differential equations and they are time invariant. So typically we learn that whether our equilibrium point is stable or unstable, and we can say that how the neighboring solution will approach that equilibrium point. So what is the basic idea? That one can approximate the nonlinear systems of differential equation by linear differential equation, and obviously the linear differential equations that we get, we can solve that, but we cannot solve the set of non-linear differential equation. Now the question arises how we can linearize. Now we are convinced that okay, as nonlinear problems are so difficult to solve and we cannot find the analytic solution for many of the nonlinear problem, so we must linearize it. And what do we know? That linearized system gives an important information about the surroundings of the equilibrium point. Now the question arises how to linearize the differential equation. Now to linearize the differential equations, we will also use this Taylor series expansion. Now suppose that if we talk about this system and x bar is the equilibrium point, there is only one differential equation and this is a function of a single variable and x bar is the equilibrium point. So what is equilibrium point? This is fx. If you put x bar you will get 0. So you found a equilibrium point. Then what you will do? Then you will do the Taylor series expansion of fx around the point x bar. So if you use the Taylor expansion, you can see that you will get the Taylor approximations like this, and if we write the higher order terms like this, I will get my system as this. Now neglecting the higher order terms, we will get our fx as equal to this. Now you know that fx bar will be equal to 0. So what I am getting, if I put fx is in the system, this x dot is equal to, that is our differential equation. If we put fx is equal to this, where a is what? There is a is a partial derivative of f with respect to x at x is equal to x bar. X bar is what? Equilibrium point. So you will get a simple linearized system for the non-linear differential equation. You can say it as 1. So this 2 is the linearized version of this non-linear differential equation. So you can see that how we can linearize a non-linear differential equation. Now if we want to linearize a coupled non-linear system, that is if we have two systems or two differential equations, you can see that f is a function of x and y and g is also a function of x and y. So this is a coupled differential equation. Now again we need to find out the steady state or equilibrium point. How we can find? We have to put this equation equal to 0. Now suppose that I call it as x star and y star. Then what we have to do? We have to use the Taylor approximation to find the approximate value or Taylor expansion of this and this are about the equilibrium point. So this one is a Taylor approximation of both, and we have neglected the higher order terms. Now as we know that this one is equilibrium point, so this one will go to 0 and this one will go to 0. So what we are left with? We are left with a simple equation which is equal to this, where J is, you can say it as Jacobian matrix. This one is called as Jacobian matrix. Now you can see that equation 2, this equation is a linear approximation to equation number 1. This equation number 1 is a non-linear differential equation and you linearized it to equation number 2. So what does linearization tells about the original system? Original system means the non-linear system, and what we have done, we have used the Taylor expansion to reduce it into the linear system. Now according to Hartman-Grumman theorem, this theorem says that the local behavior of the non-linear system near the equilibrium point. So you must be careful that it says about the behavior near the equilibrium point has same qualitative structure as the linear system. If we find out the linearized version of a non-linear system and we analyze the linear system, so whatever will be the qualitative structure of the linear system in neighborhood or near to the equilibrium point will be same as for the non-linear system. So this is the benefit of finding the linearized system. Now we will consider a example. So if you consider this equation, you can see that this one is a non-linear differential equation and these are the coupled differential equation. Why they are non-linear? Because of the presence of these two terms, which is the multiplication of the dependent variable. Now if you find the equilibrium point, you will see that you will get two equilibrium point 0 0 and this. How can you find? You can just solve the equation is equal to 0 and x1 plus x2, 4x1 x2 equal to 0. If you solve these two equations, you will get two equilibrium points. One is 0 comma 0 and other is 7 by 19 comma 7 by 9. So you will find that we are getting two equilibrium point. Now about 0 0, you can find that your equations will be reduced to this. For this it is very simple. Find the Jacobian matrix. What is the Jacobian matrix? The first one, I have to take the first equation and then what I have to do, I have to partially differentiate with respect to x1. So I am getting 5 minus 5 plus x2. Right. Now take again the first equation and partially differentiate with respect to x2. So what I am getting? I am getting 2 plus x1. Right. Now come to the second equation and again what we have to do, we have to find out the, now we will take this second equation and then we will find the partial derivative of this equation with respect to x1. So I will get 1 minus 4x2 and then I will take the partial derivatives with respect to x2. So I will get 1 minus 4x1. Now this one is equal to j. So I can write my system as x dot is equal to jx. So this is the same thing written over here. If you see that if I put this one as 0, this one as 0, because my first equilibrium point is 0 0. So you need to find out the Jacobian matrix at 0 0. So you can see that you will get like this. Right? This is the system written over here. After linearizing about 0 0 I will get this. Now same thing, if you put 7 by 19 in the place of x1 and x2, the same thing, but now you need to find out around 7 by 19 and 7 by 9, and if you see, you will get this system of linear differential equation about the point 7 by 19 and 7 by 9. Now if you observe, the Jacobian matrix about 0 0 was equal to -5, 2, 1 and 1, right? And what about the Jacobian matrix about equilibrium point 7 by 9? It was equal to, if you can see that if I put the point over here, so I can write my Jacobian matrix as, so now we are going to see what is the relationship between, if I find the eigenvalues of this J matrix, and what is the relationship between the solution of the differential equation. Like we want to solve this differential system of differential equation. Instead of solving this, what we are going to do, we are going to find out the eigenvalues of these two matrices. Now how these are connected, let's see. Once we have linear system of differential equation, we proceed to find the eigenvalue. Now how these are connected, see, I can write my linear system as this: x dot is equal to jx, what I have written it over here, this one is nothing but x dash is equal to j of x. Now if we assume that the solution of the system is this, suppose that the solution of this system number 1 exists and it looks like this. Now if you substitute, like this one is the solution, now if you take the derivative you will get this. Now substitute both of this into the differential equation A, you can find that you are getting this. So this implies that j minus of lambda I is equal to 0. Now this one is converted into the eigenvalue problem. So solving the systems of constant coefficients of linear differential equation reduced to finding the eigenvalues and eigenvectors of matrix J. I will write this. So you can see that how we have connected, like finding the systems with the constant coefficients of a linear differential equation into finding the eigenvalues and eigenvectors of matrix J. Suppose that these are the two eigenvalues we are getting, and if it comes out to be positive, we will say that equilibrium point about which these eigenvalues are coming is known. And what about the equilibrium point? This will be unstable. Unstable means all the solutions are going away from the equilibrium point. Why from the equilibrium point? Because we have found out these eigenvalues of j, and j was about some equilibrium point. So we will call this as unstable if this situation arises, like both the eigenvalues are greater than 0. If both the eigenvalues are less than 0, then we will say that it is asymptotically stable, that is all the solutions are approaching towards the equilibrium point. Now if 1 is less than 0 and 1 is greater than 0, then it is a saddle point. Like 1 is negative and 1 is positive, then it is a saddle point, or you can say it is also unstable, that from one side it is coming towards and from the other side it is going away. This is also an unstable. Obviously if it both are equal and greater than 0, then it can be proper or improper node, and it is also unstable. So if it is important that the real part should be less than 0 for stability, and if it is greater than 0, you can say that it is always unstable. Now even if it is equal and less than 0, you can see that it is asymptotically stable. Now it is also possible that you are getting the complex conjugate. Then in the case of complex conjugate, this real part plays an important role, and if it is greater than 0 we will have the unstable equilibrium point. If it is less than, we will have asymptotically stable equilibrium point. Now we can see that we did not talk about when our r is equal to 0. So this is a borderline case where the stability or the linear stability fails and we need to look upon the non-linear terms. So this is the out of scope of your course, so I am not going to discuss. So if I summarize it, we had two systems, the coupled system. First step was to find an equilibrium point. Equilibrium point can be found by equal to 0. Then what you need to do, you need to calculate the Jacobian matrix, and you need to calculate the Jacobian matrix about the equilibrium point, about the critical point. And once it is done, you will find the eigenvalues of the Jacobian matrix, and accordingly if the real part is greater than 0 you will say that equilibrium point is unstable. If 1 is greater and 1 is less than 0 then it is a saddle point, and if both are less than 0 then equilibrium point is stable, and if it is equal to 0 I have told you that it may or may not be stable, and we need to do further analysis which contains the nonlinear terms also. So we are not going to discuss this part. So these are the flows, like how the phase portrait looks like. If it is unstable focus, you can see that the solutions are moving out, the arrow is this side, and if it is a stable focus you can see that arrow is coming inside. This is for the negative real parts, right? We have the stability. So this, if this is an equilibrium point, the solution in the neighborhood is coming inside. If we have a positive real part, then solutions are going out. If real and positive, that is what unstable, and you can see that if this is a equilibrium point, all the solutions are moving outside. See the arrows, it is moving outside. So and this one is unstable. Real and negative, then this one is what, it is coming inside. So this one was with the complex, and we just look at the sign of the real part. So it will take a spiral shape, and here it is taking this shape as a phase portrait. And if one is negative, one is positive, we observe a saddle node. So you can see that from here direction it is coming inside, from the other direction it's going outside. So this was how you can see or you can picturize what will be the solution of the nonlinear system looks like near the equilibrium point. Now we have left that questions in the middle, that we found out the linearized system. Now what we have to do, we have to find out the eigenvalues of this Jacobian matrix. We have found out the Jacobian matrix. This one is a Jacobian matrix, and if you can find out the eigenvalues, you will see that you are getting the eigenvalues as this and this. Now you can observe that here we have a negative sign, and here when we have positive sign. That means what? This means that the solution near the equilibrium point 0 0 is a unstable saddle point. That means that from one side solution will approach, and from the other side it will move away. So this type of the situation will arise. So this is the case where we are getting saddle point around this equilibrium 0 comma 0. So this is a phase portrait, or you can say the directions of the motion around the equilibrium point. So this one is the equilibrium point, and these are the direction of motion. So you can see that from here it is coming, and then it is going away towards the other direction. So this was around 0 0. Now if we talk about the stability around the point, this was another equilibrium point for the same system. Now what you have done, you have find out the Jacobian matrix, and for this Jacobian matrix you are getting what, you are getting the complex conjugate as this. Now since you can see that the real part is negative, so you can say that the solutions will spiral towards this. So this is a stable spiral. Why spiral? Because if we have a complex eigenvalues, the eigenvectors will move taking the spiral. So this one is a spiral, and what will be the direction? This will be towards the equilibrium point, right? Towards the equilibrium point. Why? Because the real part is negative. Now we will do another question. This, suppose that you have this differential equation. Now this also have a two equilibrium point, but we are going to just discuss how it behaves around 0 0. So how you can find out the equilibrium point? It's simple, just put this equal to 0 and this equal to 0 and solve these equations. You will get the equilibrium point. Now if I find out the Jacobian matrix, suppose this I say it as f, and if I say it as g, this is what? Fx, this is fy, this is gx, this is gy. That is partial derivative of f with respect to x, partial derivative of f with respect to y, partial derivative of g with respect to x, partial derivative of g with respect to y. So you can find out the Jacobian matrix, and then if you put the point 0 0 over here, you will get this, right? So this one is a Jacobian matrix. Now what was the next step? You need to find out the eigenvalues. So it is simple. The eigenvalues will be what? 1 and 3. So what do you expect? That both the eigenvalues are positive. So this will be an unstable equilibrium, and it will appear as a source. So you can conclude that around the equilibrium point 0 0, the original nonlinear system is also a source. Source means that it is going outside. So the equilibrium point will act as a source, like everything is going away from it. So it will act like a source, and this is the case also for the original system, original nonlinear system, because originally we have this nonlinear system. What we did, we linearize it with the help of our Jacobian matrix. Now if the eigenvalues of the Jacobian matrix are positive, we know that this will act as a source because it is positive. So as I have already told you that near 0 0, linearization provides a good approximation to the nonlinear system. This is the phase portrait. You can see that we have this system, and as I have told you that it has two equilibrium point. This one is 1 and this one is 0 0, and you have seen that this was coming out to be source. See the arrows, you can see that all the solutions are moving outside. We did not do the analysis of this one. This is kept for you to do and see what is the behavior of this equilibrium point, right? If we have find out for this, we already know that this is a unstable node and every solution will move out in the neighborhood of this equilibrium point. Now we will see the relationship between nonlinear and linearized behavior. Just for the purpose of the summary, I have already told everything before also. So the linearized system is a very good description of the behavior of the nonlinear system, at least in the neighborhood of the equilibrium, provided the corresponding eigenvalue is not zero or does not have a zero real part. So it is very important that linear approximation gives a very good description about a non-linear model, but you must be very careful that it gives an approximation in the neighborhood of the equilibrium. And secondly, if our Jacobian matrix have a zero eigenvalue, then we cannot say only for the non-zero eigenvalues or those who have a real part non-zero, then only we can predict the behavior. Now in the borderline cases, what is a borderline case? Borderline case is when the real part of eigenvalues are equal to 0. So then the non-linear terms may change the picture. So in particular, if you want to say that if the eigenvalue has largest real part is non-zero, our linearized system will correctly predict if the equilibrium is stable or unstable. Our linearization is uninformative regarding stability of the eigenvalue has a zero real part. In such cases, non-linear terms define the or determine the stability. So this was all about today's lecture. I will end this lecture over here. Thank you.